This is the Norwalk Water Pollution Control Authority meeting of January 19th. It's a regular meeting, not held on the third Monday because of Martin Luther King holiday. So call the meeting to order. It is 5:30. Is there a motion to approve the meeting minutes of November 16th?
So moved.
By Mr. Igneri. Are there any comments, questions, corrections? I'm going to be honest, I didn't get to it. I'm good for a typo or two, but I have nothing to offer today. Anybody else? Anybody see anything? I'll call the question. All in favor, aye. Show of hands.
Aye.
Mr. Clark?
Yep, Mayor.
Okay, now I see it. Yep.
Aye.
Yep, that looks unanimous to me. Abstentions or nays, I don't hear any. So that's unanimous. I think that concludes the business portion of our meeting. So contract operations reports. Ralph?
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Mancini?
Can you guys hear me okay?
Yep.
Great. Great.
You see it front and center.
Excellent. Good evening, everybody. It was a pretty slow month. We were really limited by our COVID-19 operability plan. We remained in level 3 through most of the month of December. And that was based on increasing numbers in Fairfield County. You know, as we talked about, we have our staff split into 2 teams, so they're alternating weeks. Fortunately, we did have a bit of we had a number of cases. We've actually had 7 confirmed employees since the beginning, dating back to May of this year. We've had 4 employees that have been on quarantine based on contact tracing too. So that's a total of 11 employees impacted, which is almost 50% of our staff. So, however, we've been able to keep that isolated. We've, to the best of our ability, determined that no one contacted the illness from anyone else while working. That everybody, unfortunately, we can't control everybody when they go home every night, and it was over the course of the holidays too. So a lot of people were with extended family and groups. So overall, I think we managed it pretty well, but it was a bit of a challenge, particularly in the collection system, to meet our key metrics. That being said, the plant was in compliance with all contract limits for the month of December, with the exception of the sewer collections, where we were able to complete 0.6 miles of sewer cleaning and 0.67 miles of TV inspection, along with 382 manhole inspections. The guys were able to get a substantial amount of SLRAT work done. They did another 2.6 miles of SLRAT inspections. The centrifuge installation is progressing quickly. We're actually starting it up this week. The Centrisis representatives are on site along with all of our contractors and our team. And we've introduced water in it today, and tomorrow, if all goes well, we're going to make our first sludge cake with our new centrifuge. So we're very excited about that. And I'm going to try this quickly. I'm going to share a picture of the unit. Let's do that. Can everybody see that?
Big sucker, isn't it?
It is. So if you can see my mouse, this is the unit up here. This is the 21-inch machine. 21 inches is the diameter, and then the scroll runs this way. It's on an elevated platform that it sits on, and then it has its own built-in crane so that when we need to do maintenance, we can pull the components of the centrifuge out through this built-in trolley and crane system. And then underneath it, we've got all new conveyor systems that come up, and you see on the upper left here, this is our new state-of-the-art truck loading conveyor as well, which will electronically sense the level in the truck and evenly distribute the sludge cake into the dump trailer that we have in the garage. So the next remaining steps are to actually isolate this equipment with two center block walls, and then interconnect the odor control system. So as this week's a significant milestone, and so far so good. There's always a few minor things here and there that you have to work out, but we've got a good team on site, and we're looking forward to telling you next month's meeting that we're making sludge cake. The IPP program remained on hold in December, unfortunately. It's part of our level 3 protocol, so there were no inspections completed. Our staff is utilizing the off weeks to complete a lot of required health and safety training. So they're using the iPads that we have here to do that. And we're continuing to receive septage from Stamford during their construction shutdown. Regulatory wise, the treatment plant was in compliance with all permit limits in December. The monthly nitrogen was 462, which reduced the 2020 average to 498 pounds per day. And that'll be our final number for 2020. It was a little bit elevated. We were hoping for a little bit lower number, but we had a high result that came in on December 20th. We investigated the high number. It was out of the trends, and we believe it to be an error in either the sampling or lab analysis, but we couldn't document that. So that's the number. It'll be 498, I believe, pending any final adjustments.
Hey, John, I'd like to just interrupt for a second. I just want to point out to all the board members that 462 pounds per day for the month of December was an all-time best for any month of December. And the 498 pounds per day for the calendar year 2020 is an all-time best for the city of Norwalk.
Nice. Well, that's good to hear, Ralph. Hopefully every month and every year going forward, you'll be saying the same thing. But, the challenge is the winter, as it always has been historically too. So we're working hard and keeping close eye on the parameters throughout this winter. And we have a number of improvements that we're working on as well that'll go into place over the winter and next summer. So for our metrics, we were in good compliance. The flow was up. We were at 13.5 for the month. We did have a pretty good amount of precipitation during December. Bacterias were all good. Nitrogen we talked about, and chemical use was within normal ranges. So that's the summary report, but as always, I'm happy to answer any questions anybody might have.
No questions?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thanks. I'll make sure to bring some more pictures next month of the centrifuge installation too.
That was a good picture.
That was
and clear.
good.
Good.
John, I just want to add on at the end that odor control is also part of the dewatering project. That's going to come in a little bit about mid-year, May-ish is my understanding. But we have 2 carbon systems coming to the site for odor control.
Right.
So just want to make sure everybody is aware of that, and that should really help eliminate odors from the property.
Yep. And all the piping will be completed. Basically everything except for the component that's being manufactured right now. We actually completed some site-specific sulfide testing to make sure we have, they actually blend the carbon inside of the vessel to be specific for your type of levels of contamination. So we've got some good data back to them, and we're hopeful it's going to be sooner than May, but it seems like the standard answer for any delivery these days is 14 to 16 weeks or something. But we'll try to push it as much as we can.
Great. Thank you, John.
I have a question, Ralph.
Yes, sir.
What was the chemical we were using in the sludge for odors?
Potassium permanganate.
Potassium permanganate, thank you. Are we not using that anymore?
Oh, we are. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
adding to the sludge blend
It's
tanks.
still necessary. The carbon is an addition to.
Yeah, because it's a balancing thing too. The carbon gets expended as well, right? The amount of sulfides that you add to the carbon, eventually you have to regenerate the carbon. So you have to, it's usually a combination of some chemical addition to knock them down to a certain level, and then use the carbon to really filter out the noticeable contaminants coming out of the tank.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks everybody.
Have a good evening.
My pleasure.
Moving on to reports. Item A, I included in the board package the typical Munis report. Only a couple things I want to point out is the nitrogen credits were received by the city from 2019. That was received from Connecticut Deep in the amount of $355,683. And the only other item I just want to point out is the sewer bill to the town of Wilton is currently being generated by the finance team. So that should be going out shortly. Any other questions on Munis?
No,
Item B, draft fiscal year 21-22 capital budget. Copy was included in the board package. WPCA staff is requesting $1 million for collection system rehabilitation and an additional $1 million for pump station upgrades and replacement. So that's our request through the city process for fiscal year 21-22. And typical, we provide the next few years outlook of anticipated capital requests. Subject to change, we are in the process of doing a collection system master plan to evaluate collection system projects, and also the consultant will prepare budgets, make sure that we have sufficient funding in the future to fund those projects. In addition, the Arcadis, our consultant for the treatment plant, will also be doing a facility plan update, and we will look at various technologies and aeration tanks, possibly wet weather treatment related to outfall 002. And depending on that study and outcome, there may be projects generated that we have to include for future funding. But for right now, we're only asking for the $2 million. Any questions?
None?
All right. Item C, discussion on Shorefront Park. So right before Christmas, the Suez team got a call for a number 11 Shorefront Park. And what ended up happening, the long story short, 1960, the sewer main was installed on Shorefront Park in front of houses 9, 11, and 15. For whatever reason, and I don't know the history, but those three houses were connected on a basically common lateral that went to an old septic tank on the original property before it was subdivided. And then that septic tank had an overflow or a pipe that went to an abandoned sanitary sewer main. So in the 1960s, the city abandoned the sewer line that this common lateral was connected to when they installed a new lateral, a new main. So about a year ago, OMI found a couple other homes. I think it was numbers like 45, 47 on Shorefront Park. Same situation. The homes were connected to an abandoned sewer main. So at the cost of the WPCA, through OMI's MRR account for collections, we connected those properties to the active sewer main. Right before the holidays, like I said, we found a similar situation for 9, 11, and 15. And I had directed Suez to connect. It was first house number 9 to the sewer main, the active sewer line, to provide services for 9/11/15. So that way we were able to get through the holidays without anybody backing up, having issues. Immediately after following the holidays, Suez continued to install laterals for house number 11 and 15. And all those costs are being paid through the MRR funds for a collection system.
What are those costs?
The first one's going to be an emergency because we had to get it done a day or two right before Christmas. But the other two were planned sewer lateral installations. And at the moment, I don't have final cost. John, Matt, have you seen anything yet from AJ Penna?
Unfortunately not, Ralph. But we'll get something together and update, certainly by the next meeting. We'll have some numbers.
Hey,
Yes,
Ralph,
George.
I have not seen anything, Ralph. This is Matt.
Thank you, Matt. George?
Hey, Ralph, where was that sewage going after it went into the abandoned sewer drain? It wasn't going into the sound, was it?
Indirectly, yes. It acted like one giant cesspool. And it is a tidal area. So as the tide comes in, it does flush the soil. So any sewage in the soils would be flushed out with the tide.
Okay.
Any other questions?
How many of these are left? I keep eating the clams.
I don't know what's in the ground. I'll be honest. Hopefully none. But like I didn't
have before, and I ate more clams.
One good thing is the Shellfish Commission and the shellfish industry does monitor the shellfish beds. They take water samples, they take meat samples, and there's a whole FDA program to analyze the shellfish. But hopefully there's not too many of these left, and as we find them, we'll fix them.
Thanks.
All right, item D, discussion on WPCA projects. So our sanitary sewer system rehab, the various locations, Green Mountain, start of the new year, they're in town. They're TVing, cleaning, measuring sections of pipe to be lined. They should be here for at least a couple months. There was some delay in the fall or November, December timeframe due to COVID, but now they're back in town. Their crews are maintaining safe distances, and people will see them in the next 2 or 3 months in town working. So we're about 85% of the project completed. Last week, we actually had a very successful large liner that went in. It was a 24-hour operations right at between Knight and Brook Street on Wall Street. There was about 1,000 or 1,200 feet of sewer main, 30-inch sewer main that was lined that ran actually underneath some buildings. So that was a success. And like I said, they'll be in town looking at various pipes that they have to line. We also, in a couple of weeks, have a big project at Witch Lane off near Old Trolleyway that needs both excavation and lining that's going to be taking place. Right now, we're working with the team on the bypass pumping plan and also the traffic control plan. Any questions? All right, speaking of lining, item 2, Smith Street Sanitary Sewer Interceptor. This is the 36-inch, 1929 it was installed, 36-inch reinforced concrete sewer main that flows from Wall Street down to Moody's Lane. We are in the process of getting pricing from Green Mountain to line that pipe. The reason is head of the harbor is working with the city and the Connecticut DEP to put land use restrictions on their parcel. And our 36-inch pipe goes through that parcel. So what we're looking to do is to line it so that way we prolong the life at least 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next item, item 3, pump station 5 Mile Old Trolleyway, Cairn Drive, and Woodward Avenue Rehab is approximately 100% design. On February 1st, I'm actually going to be working with Anthony and Vanessa, the principal engineer for the city, to do the final review, and we anticipate the project being advertised in the next few weeks. This project will consist of rehabbing those 4 pump stations, specifically pumps, piping, wet well, making sure we have a bypass connection for emergency use. And control, pump controls, and if applicable, VFDs. Any questions? All right, item 4, wastewater treatment plant. We have asked Suez to get pricing, actually get 3 quotes for scum piping improvements. And to date, they've gotten 2 quotes have been received, and we're waiting on 1 more quote. Once we receive that quote, I will authorize Suez to proceed with the lowest qualified bid and proceed with the improvements that will help at the facility remove scum from the process. And then the last item is item 5, SCADA upgrades, phase 3. So we're working with Aaron Associates and Arcadis, and we're in construction right now for mobile application. So we will be able to monitor the treatment plant, pump stations, and treat siphon from any iPhone, iPad, remote, and also improve security. So that project is underway. Any questions? Oh, Darren.
Anything new on Keerbrooke?
It's moving along. Eversource has granted us an easement within the same property, and they backed off on some of their requirements about abandoning the old pump station. Instead of having to go down 30 feet, they backed off and said, okay, 10 feet is acceptable. And that makes
movement.
So
You have movement from Eversource.
we do have movement from Eversource.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And last week, I went to the Planning Commission for a 824 review for the easements, and they approved it. The next step, it goes to Common Council for approval. We also will have to go in February to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a variance, because where the property is, it requires a 2-story structure. And due to the high tension power lines above, we can only have a 1-story pump station. So we will be, we're working on the application, submitting that for the month of February. All right, Darren. Next item, E, sewer use bills and appeals to date is $24,577. So it's been pretty quiet as far as any kind of appeals for sewer use fees. And the last thing in the board package is I have the 2021 WPCA meeting schedule. It's a copy for everybody. And again, in February, due to the 3rd Monday is President's Day, the board meeting would be Tuesday, the February 16th.
Okay. That brings us to the end. Anybody have anything to say, questions, comments on anything before we, I guess, we're not adjourning the meeting, but we're going to have to leave this meeting and go on, right?
Into the executive session, correct.
Okay. So while we're in open session, any other comments, questions? No? No?
Karen? No
Yes,
question.
sir. How are you, Mr. Ternetti?
I did not get my invitation to the executive session.
Okay.
It's your email address. I'll forward it over to you.
Okay.
Send it to my personal one, please. It's George, the number 5 at optonline.net. optonline.net.
Hey, Mario, I don't think I got it either. I mean, Anthony, I don't think I got it either. ctori@norwalkct.org.
I'm gonna use the email that I got from Larry Mancy. Is that correct?
Correct.
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, so I'll forward it to you, George and Chris.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Anything else? Anybody have anything else at all?
That's it.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to go into executive session. Oh, thank you, Mr. Mancini. Have a good day.
All right. Good night,
Take care.
everybody.
Hey, John.
Bye.
Take care.
All right, no, nobody else has anything. Is there a motion to go into executive session?
So moved.
So moved.
Knighty's raised his hand first. Let's give it to him. All in favor, say aye. Hands, please. See hands, I see hands. It all looks good. I'll call that unanimous, and it is 5:56 according to my computer. We got to drop off of this, right?
Correct.
It'll take a minute. You know, mine ran and ran, so I'll do my best. See you guys in a few.
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, nice job, Ralph.
Thank you, Ralph.
Thank you.